And right now at noon, breaking news out of Danville, Kentucky. A report of 3 people killed in a downtown pawn shop. Center College that you see here and several other schools now on lockdown. We're going to talk with a student from Louisville who is on that campus in a classroom now on lockdown. A police officer shot and killed early this morning. It happened when he forced his way into an apartment after a woman screamed for help in Indianapolis. And a stormy night ahead, Bend Pine tracking what's coming our way and if you'll have to change any plans you have for later today. But we begin with that breaking news. As we said, Center College in Danville, Kentucky, as well as Boyle County and Danville schools now on lockdown after 3 people reportedly killed at a pawn shop in downtown Danville at 4th Street. Here's what we know. 3 people killed at that pawn shop. We know at least one of them a customer. The name of the pawn shop, ABC Gold Games, and more. That's the name of the shop. It's at the intersection of South 4th Street and Fackler. Classes have been canceled until further notice. Students are being told to get to secure buildings and stay where they are. This, by the way, we want to let you know is Parents' Weekend at Center College. Many of those activities kicking off today. It is a busy time. These pictures coming to us courtesy of the Advocate Messenger. You can see police dogs there. You saw that front window of the pawn shop was smashed in. And again, this is very close playing out. If you've ever been to Danville, it's a small community there, a small college town, and this not too far from the school. That's why so many places there now on lockdown. Here's what police are telling us about the potential suspect. They say he is a white male, about 20 years old, with a black hoodie, riding a bike, and has a scruffy beard. Once again, Center is on lockdown as well as other schools. We're going to talk right now to Alex Anthony. He is a junior there at Center. He's a graduate locally here of DuPont Manual High School. And Alex, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I am.
Thank you so much for talking with us. I know your mom, so I called her, and she was very concerned. But you said right now things are pretty calm at the school. Where are you exactly?
I'm in the Olin building, which is the math facility at Center College.
And what were you doing when you found out about the lockdown, and how were you notified?
I had just walked into Olin, and I was heading to class when I was notified that the lockdown happened, and classes were canceled immediately. So we went to our professor's office and just kind of did a impromptu class.
And so you've actually been carrying on business as usual?
Pretty much. A lot of students are in here doing homework or, like, talking with their professors, kind of just trying to get a little bit of work done.
And you said you have been told not to get near any windows or anything like that. You've been told to stay away from those?
Yeah, we are in the hallways without windows, and all the blinds have been shut to try to give off the vibe that nobody's really here right now.
And what is the mood there? Are people concerned, nervous?
I think about an hour ago when the lockdown first occurred, people were pretty frantic, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's calmed down now, and people are just kind of going on with their daily routines.
And we hear that they are looking for a suspect. Give us a feel for Danville. We know it is a small community there. Are you familiar with this pawn shop or how close it might be to campus?
Yes, I actually drive past it all the time. There's a couple of athletic fields right next to that area. There's a softball field and a newly renovated lacrosse field right by the street where that's on, so it's within less than, it's running distance. It's very close.
And you know, as I said, I've been there many times for lacrosse tournaments. It is a small community there. This is not the normal thing that seems to happen in a place like Danville, Kentucky. Are students surprised, the ones that you have talked to, that you're talking about a triple murder in this tiny town?
Yeah, people are actually really surprised about it. It kind of comes out of the blue, seeing as not many of these kinds of sort of events happen a lot.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you for talking with us, Alex. We do appreciate it. And stay safe. And again, we will let people know when the all clear. But you've been in there for about how long now? When did the lockdown actually start?
It started right around 10:10, 10:20-ish.
So you're going on about 2 hours.
So I've been in here for about an hour. Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah.
All right, Alex, thank you so much. Really do appreciate your talking with us.
I was that no good thing that that poor white trash little girl that nobody wanted. And so who is going to want me? Well, some pimp will have me, at least somebody will have me.
I was scared to death. I never knew if I was going to get beat.
They are painful memories and stories Mary Cummins and Kathy Abel have a hard time retelling. The women, both from Louisville's South Side, were forced into a dark world many in Kentuckiana don't even know exists.
My perpetrator found me at an ice cream truck.
He lived right next door. He bought her things, made her feel special, and finally kidnapped her at the age of 15. Soon, he had her working for anything that would bring in money, namely prostitution.
I was taken out of the state, underage, drug all across the South, you know, yeah, and made to one, yeah, in truck stops, and so I was more or less abducted, yeah, and did not want to go. And he would take his helmet and beat me in the head with my helmet on, and when I'd cry, and I wanted my mama, but my mama didn't have time for me.
Kathy Abel was kidnapped by a friend of Mary's pimp. She was forced to work jobs that no teen could ever imagine.
I was a prostitute. I ran a massage parlor. When I got off from work there, I went and danced on 7th Street.
Kathy's nickname was Rocky Raccoon because her face was so badly beaten. Once, she was beaten for 12 hours and locked in the house for 4 days. Finally, her neighbors managed to get her out and get her to a hospital.
They dropped me off the back door of the hospital, and I just felt my way because I couldn't see. All I could see was like images. I couldn't make out nothing.
It wasn't until they were in their 30s that they finally escaped. Kathy escaped with a friend.
He went and got a haircut. I grabbed up as many of my clothes and my kids' clothes as I could, and she took me and hid me.
Human trafficking is a problem right here in Kentuckiana, mainly because of its location, and it's a problem that's only getting worse.
We're kind of centrally located between a lot of the big cities, and with our interstate system, it's making it easy for these traffickers to bring girls, stop in Louisville. They can set up shop for a few weeks or a few days, whatever they want to do, make their money, and then when it starts slowing down, they pack up and go to the next city.
Sergeant Andre Bottoms of the Louisville Metro Police Narcotics Street Enforcement Unit says these traffickers target certain children and teens that may have had a bad home life, or maybe they're even a runaway. Mary and Kathy are now free of that life, and they're actually roommates. They have a similar life story, but a plan to move forward.
There's other ways. Go to school. Go, if you're scared, go to a shelter. They're not going to let them guys in there to bother you.
I seek change again by telling what has occurred, never to forget what can come from pain and the appreciation for the passion of life.
Tonight, a WHAS 11 News I-Team investigation is revealing startling details about the crash of a chartered school bus that happened exactly 5 months ago today on I-64 near the Shelby County line.
Well, those federal documents obtained by the I-Team show the tires came from a scrap bin and maintenance records for that bus were burned.
WHAS 11's Joe Arnold started this I-Team investigation weeks after the crash, and he's here now with the exclusive discoveries. Joe?
Well, Doug and Melissa, it was a Wagoner High School trip to the campus of Eastern Kentucky University. But the return trip on Commonwealth Bus 450 gave more than just an education to those on board. This frightening crash that ended their bus trip is now exposing serious violations, the choices made by the bus owner, and jaw-dropping information from the people directly involved.
The tire blew, like it sounded like an explosion.
A blown tire.
Heard this really loud pop.
Commonwealth Bus Service Unit 450, a chartered school bus, careens into a concrete median on I-64.
And you could feel the bus just jerk.
All 29 high school students and 5 adults on board injured. 6 critically.
Our stuff was everywhere, there was blood.
And 5 months later, there are still questions.
I would like to know what the company said about it, because, I mean, it could have cost me my life.
Flung across several rows of seats in the crash, 15-year-old Angel Hahn suffered a broken back, ankle, and sternum, a shattered elbow, and a head injury.
I'm still recovering. It's a little hard. I have a lot of trouble focusing with my head injury, and I have a lot of pain.
Now we have answers for Angel's questions. The safety of this bus trip was only as secure as the bus tires. In a U.S. Department of Transportation compliance review obtained by WHAS 11 News, the bus owner, Michael Goad, told investigators he got these tires from a friend who happens to have some spare tires this size. We reached Angel and her mother at their home in Tennessee to reveal what we uncovered. The front tires, the steering tires on bus 450 were literally trash. Goad's friend, whose name is redacted from the federal report, told investigators he salvaged the tires from a scrap tire bin at Tony's Brake and Alignment on Poplar Level Road.
The trash. You said the trash, right?
The recycling bin.
Oh. I don't even know how to respond to that, to be directly honest with you.
We have been unable to reach Michael Goad for comment. An employee at Tony's Brake and Alignment told investigators no one at the business could remember letting anyone get tires from the scrap tire bin. And Tony's owner tells WHAS 11 they don't sell used tires and they did not condone or authorize any such action. The unnamed friend's admission is spelled out in U.S. Department of Transportation investigation documents obtained by WHAS 11 News. Quoting from the report, the tires were in the scrap tire bin that were going to be taken by a tire recycler. Instead, what we now know are 11-year-old tires ended up on bus 450. Louisville Metro Police are the lead agency investigating the crash. LMPD brought in 2 experts. First, a post-crash inspection by veteran forensic mechanic Scott Burrows of Trimble County found the tires appeared to have enough tread life and did not show signs of uneven wear. Yet Burrows did express concerns about the tires' age and suggested experts in tire failure take a closer look. LMPD then brought in inspectors from the tire's manufacturer. Goodyear Innovation Center inspectors found evidence the tire was used for some time prior to being mounted on this vehicle and showed signs of over-deflected operation, a result, they say, of underinflation, overloading, or a combination of both. Goodyear explained that over-deflection causes irreversible damage to the tire and can affect handling.
It's just outrageous.
We took our investigation to Bill McMurray, an attorney for 6 crash victims.
It's a ticking time bomb. It is going to blow. It's just a question of when.
McMurray also suspects something was wrong with the bus suspension, and our investigation reveals bus 450 had been in another crash 6 months earlier, which resulted in substantial repairs to the front of the bus, including the suspension. And there is no sign of any inspection before bus 450 returned to the road. Investigators say the bus owner, Michael Goad, told them, quote, he did not have any documents for any of the work that has been conducted due to the 90-plus-year-old man that lives with him burning all the maintenance records to stay warm.
How do you burn records that your business records? That doesn't make any sense.
Bus 450 is being stored now as evidence in the Louisville Mega Cavern. Goad's other bus, 451, was ruled out of service 8 days after the crash when inspectors found brake violations. It now sits on his property near the Bullitt County line. Not only could Goad not produce bus 450's maintenance records, he admitted to investigators he had not done an annual inspection in a few years. How on earth was that vehicle still on the road? Officer Jared Newberry is with the Kentucky State Police Commercial Vehicle Enforcement.
That's one of those situations, Joe, where we've got road units out there looking for violations. We're looking for things safety related. Sometimes things do slip through the cracks.
Newberry says he's confident state police would have discovered any serious violations if bus 450 had been selected for a roadside inspection. In Kentucky, the law is the state does not inspect every bus. In fact, it's possible for a bus to never be selected for a spot inspection. Kentucky law does require annual inspections by a certified inspector, and JCPS requires annual and monthly inspections that must be kept on file. But unless authorities demand to see them, the records may go unchecked. Commonwealth Bus Service is an umbrella company for 12 different bus owners. Its treasurer says Goad is the only one who did not maintain his records at their office. Commonwealth declined our repeated requests for interviews. 2 weeks after the crash, the Department of Transportation swooped in, noting dozens of safety procedure violations at Commonwealth, including insufficient drug testing, driver training, driver background investigation, maintenance and inspection records, and operating unsafe vehicles. On July 9th, the DOT proposed an unsatisfactory rating for Commonwealth, indicating it was operating at an unacceptable level of compliance. Commonwealth took some action, and on August 23rd, the rating was upgraded to conditional. All the while, Jefferson County Public Schools continued to use Commonwealth for field trips, but that all changed on Friday. After WHAS 11 shared the discoveries of this investigation, JCPS notified Commonwealth it was temporarily ceasing operations with the carrier, and they are reviewing the matter. A JCS spokesman explained the Kentucky Department of Transportation led them to believe the inspection issue was a paperwork issue, and the district was never informed, he says, that the bus owner had failed to perform any inspections. Angel's mother says Kentucky Safeguards failed her daughter and everyone else on Bus 450.
So in this situation it failed, and luckily it didn't cost a life, but it cost a lot of heartache and a lot of injuries.
Now the LMPD police report says Bus 450 also had expired plates and no registration. Its owner, Michael Goad, is no longer listed on the Commonwealth Bus Service roster, but we have learned he's now working as a driver for another charter company, DC Tours, whose owner tells me, though, Goad has nothing to do with their bus maintenance. JCPS is reviewing Commonwealth's record. So far, it has had to find different transportation, though, for more than 250 school trips scheduled this month that were originally booked with Commonwealth. Now, coming up tomorrow night at 6, Bus 450 was one of dozens of charter buses transporting school children every day. How can we know those buses are safe? Our investigation continues. Joe Arnold, WHAS 11 News.
Right now here at 6:30, we are taking a live look at Max HD radar. Storms have been over us all afternoon. At this hour, the First Alert Storm Team is here tracking the storms minute by minute.
Our crews have been all over today. They're on the ground sending back pictures of what the storm's doing across the viewing area. We've got coverage for you straight ahead. Peoria, Illinois, and several other communities you're seeing right here near Chicago hit hard by a large tornado late this morning. Huge damage to homes and buildings in Peoria and Washington, Illinois. 2 people killed in Illinois, dozens of injuries there. The tornado threat caused the NFL to clear Soldier Field in Chicago for a few minutes before the Bears could play today. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on this special edition of our evening newscast. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I am Melissa Swan. We did escape the worst of it this afternoon. Here's another live look at Max HD radar. It was lighting up with those strong storms that were moving through the region earlier today, but as you can see from this radar, it is quieting down considerably.
And we want to take you north to Indianapolis, where we're taking a look at a live picture also tonight. We've been monitoring there. A major traffic backup is happening. The helicopter pictures there focused on an accident, we are told. Severe weather has been moving through Indianapolis earlier. This is some of the aftermath of the storms.
And we are going to have live coverage and coverage from throughout central Illinois and central Indiana. But first, we want to take you to Karma Dickerson and our live coverage, including Karma, Chelsea Rabideau, also in the Louisville metro area.
We're going to get to them also as well, but we want to begin with our First Alert Storm Team meteorologists Monty Webb, Ben Pine, and Kristen Walls. At this hour, guys, only 40 power outages reported in Metro Louisville. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it really is. All the really bad storms stayed out to our west and up to the north. That's where that instability, all the dynamics were much better out west, up north than here in Metro Louisville.
Yeah, we dodged the worst of the storms.
Right.
As I was talking about earlier this morning, if we were to see a lot of that sunshine, then we could see possibly these temperatures warming up into the mid-70s. We did not see that. A few peaks of sunshine from time to time, as we had reports from viewers, but we only got to 67.
And that just wasn't enough. We've been talking about this all week long. It was all conditional upon that instability. We saw the sun, that meant it was going to be a really bad day for us. If we didn't see the sun, well, it was going to turn out much better.
And we still had our handful of tornadoes being reported across the area, especially where we had that high risk for some of our northern counties.
Right, over Lawrence, Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings County. So let's talk about the watches that we still have in effect. We're taking a look at Max HD, and here's a look at our watches and warnings. The tornado watch remains in effect for most of Kentucky and until 10 o'clock here tonight. Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings, they've been dropped. But folks, as we go to our Max HD radar, I want to show you that most of the storms now pushing down towards the south and off to the east. We're going to zoom in here a little bit closer. Some severe storms just to the northwest of our viewing area. We do have some stronger storms now pushing into portions of Jefferson County up into Carroll County, picking up some very heavy rain. We have another batch of some storms now moving into Floyd County, Harrison County, getting ready to move into Metro Louisville. Nothing severe, but it will pack some heavy rain and some winds between 30 and maybe 45 miles an hour. And we're also watching some strong to severe storms just north of the Bowling Green area, clipping the southern sections of Hart County. Southern Hart County under a severe thunderstorm warning for about another 15 minutes. Winds there could be gusting up to 60 miles an hour. And as we move out, set everything into motion. Kristen, these storms have been hauling all day long. They've been moving out to the east at about 70 miles an hour.
They really have. And, you know, we've had the winds have been pretty incredible with this as well. We've had wind gusts as high as about 80 miles an hour in some of our storms just to the north. So we've had some wind damage as well with these storms as they move on through. But the good news is, Monty, we're going to see a lot of relief over the next couple of hours.
With Max HD really out on a wide shot here behind this final line that's moving through Metro Louisville and then through our southern counties. We start drying out and clearing out back to our west. We will end up with clearing skies here after 8 o'clock here tonight. By 8 o'clock, everything pushing off towards the east, and then the sunshine will return for Monday. Monday will be somewhat chilly, but at least nice and sunny. So here's what's ahead as we help you plan ahead. Clearing overnight. Temperatures tomorrow will be in the 50s with the return of sunshine, and then moving ahead, we do have a chance for more rain and storms late next week. We'll have more on that coming up in just a bit.
Thank you so much, both of you. And our viewing area, as we said, did escape the worst today. The closest severe weather got to Louisville was Lawrence County, Indiana.
Now, WHAS 11's Karma Dickerson is live in Bedford. There were reports of a tornado touchdown in Lawrence County, but Karma's there and is now confirmed it appears to be more straight line wind damage. Karma?
Yes, Doug, and quite intense straight line wind damage it appears to be. I'm on Art Gallery Road near Bedford, just off State Road 37, and take a look at what those winds did. 2 trees uprooted right in front of this home. They crashed through the roof into the living room, and this is a mobile home here. Now, fortunately, the family was not inside, but neighbors tell us they heard the crash. The next door neighbors even watched it happen. They were outside monitoring the tornado path when the intense winds turned their attention in the opposite direction.
All those trees look like they're a good 130, 40, 50 feet tall, but yeah, they were moving around quite a bit. So I think there was actually more wind away from the ground at that moment, and of course we could see a lot of dark. The tornado was 6 or 7 miles kind of north of us.
And fortunately, it looks like it's just property damage here at this home. Again, the family, just as we are speaking, they were trying to move the belongings out. They're concerned about water damage if weather moves back through this area. But at this point, they say it was just some property that they were concerned about. A lot of insulation fell through the home, but no one injured, and they're very fortunate, very happy about that. Reporting live from Bedford, Karma Dickerson, WHAS 11 News.
Thank you so much, Karma. Well, here in Metro Louisville today, we did see some high water and some flooding, some scary wind gusts at times, but no tornadoes.
Tornadoes stayed well to our north, at least 60 of them touching down through Illinois and Indiana today. WHAS 11's Chelsea Ravidu is checking out Metro Louisville. She's down near the U of L campus at Floyd Street and Cardinal Boulevard. Chelsea?
Well, I think as we all watched these storms develop with such intensity to the north and to the west of us, we were really worried here in Metro Louisville and the surrounding areas at what we were going to see and when. And it ended up that we really, those started to lose a little bit of intensity. So it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be here in Metro Louisville. We had about, I would say, less than 15 minutes of really powerful downpours and strong winds as we saw the clouds were even moving through very quickly, as Monty, Ben, and Kristen mentioned that they're moving at about 70 miles an hour to the east. So we really didn't see that downpour for very long. But while we did, we started having some standing water on the roadways. Plenty of people still out and about. And it's areas when we see that really strong rain, like these viaducts here behind me on Brandeis Avenue, those areas are the ones that really tend to gather that water quickly. But thankfully, because that storm really didn't last for too long, we didn't see too much building up, and because it passed out so quickly, then we saw that water draining off fairly quickly. But as we've been driving around, we've still seen a lot of fields, and like the soccer field here on campus that has a lot of standing water right on top of the field. But other than that, we really didn't see any major impact here in Metro Louisville. Reporting live from Cardinal Boulevard, Chelsea Rabideau, WHAS 11 News.
Thank you very much, Chelsea. It was a scary afternoon. We want to show you the system and what it looked like when it passed right over Peoria, Illinois. You'll see out here to the west. Peoria, this is the Peoria Peak in Washington, Indiana, where 3 people died earlier today. And then it raked right across down here to Lafayette, Indiana, and then over to Kokomo, Indiana, where a state of emergency has been declared. This is what that twister looked like in the Peoria, Illinois area. It was massive. This is the damage that it did. Whole neighborhoods have been taken out in that Peoria, Pekin, Washington area. The twister, as it was coming through, was caught on video, and it was an incredible sight. There you see the funnel cloud right outside someone's window there as they are shooting it, and it is taking away the neighborhoods there in the Illinois area. As I said, 3 people are confirmed dead in this little triangular area of Peoria, Pekin, and Washington. And here is the latest from Kokomo, Indiana. It was one of the hardest hit areas in Indiana. Kokomo is just north of Indianapolis. And emergency management crews say they've received reports of injury. Several people injured, specifically at a local mall there in Kokomo. It's called the Kokomo Town Center, where folks were attending a Christmas tree auction shortly before the storms hit. There were several reports of homes that were severely damaged, like this one in the Kokomo area. 12 counties in all in Indiana now are reporting either tornado touchdowns or storm damage. Now, City Police Department in Kokomo also sent photos of buildings with rooftops torn off, a destroyed bank branch. The governor again says 12 counties there have been affected in Indiana. Doug?
Well, also today, WHAS 11 News spread out around our region to keep an eye on the storm system. It was moving closer to us to see how it impacted other towns and cities. We spent the afternoon as well here in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, where Kentucky State Police report tonight that the region suffered no damage. E-Town did see driving winds, which one woman told us there pushed her around as she was trying to walk to her car. The Elizabethtown region was soaked with heavy rains today, similar to what we saw in Metro Louisville. And this morning's heavy rain in the metro area left one group of people trapped in their neighborhood this morning. The Boulder Creek subdivision in Jeffersonville, Indiana, gets blocked off from the rest of the neighborhood every time they see heavy rain. Subdivisions in Indiana are supposed to have at least 2 roads going in and out of their communities, but Boulder Creek's second road hasn't been finished for the last 8 years. Their only road gets flooded by a nearby creek. People miss work and end up staying at friends' homes until the water goes down and they can get back into their houses.
It's fast moving, anywhere from 9 to 15 inches deep, and it was actually white water over the road. It was running so fast that it was a current, and it had waves and bubbles.
Residents have been told that the other road has been held back until bridge construction can be finished. The water there in Jeffersonville went down by this afternoon. Don't forget, when other severe weather strikes, WHAS 11 News is on your side. We will always bring you the latest information here in our newscasts, live cut-ins, and you can also stay up to date on WHAS11.com. Many of you have been on our website today and our social media pages. Don't forget to download our Weathercaster app from the App Store and send us pictures of what the storm looks like in your neighborhood by emailing your photos at WHAS11.com.
And at 6:41 on this Sunday evening, we're giving you another live look at radar, where we are continuing to track these storms. The First Alert Storm Team's full forecast. That's next.
Other news here tonight for you as well. A man is dead after this fatal accident, which left his car wrapped around a utility pole. We're talking to police about what exactly happened there. That story is next. Right now on 11 at 11, we have the latest on the conditions of a young child and a youth football coach, both rescued from an abandoned underground cistern tonight. Just a couple of hours ago in West Louisville, we showed it happening live, and now we have new information.
And why was that dangerous hole there? Why wasn't it covered up? Questions we asked tonight, and we're bringing you the answers in a live report.
Plus, a liquor sale vote that had businesses on edge goes nowhere tonight. What happened and what's next as the Metro Council looks to limit the hours of alcohol sales? Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Melissa Swan. Tonight, a courageous youth football coach leaped into action to help save a toddler. Emergency crews rescued both of them from an abandoned cistern in Russell Lee Park.
Now, we've been bringing you breaking news updates throughout the night on this developing story. A small child fell into the underground abandoned cistern 14 feet deep near a football field in the West Louisville Park. It happened about 7:30 tonight. You see the scenes from Sky 11. That's when the coach went in and jumped into that trench.
And we have live in-depth team coverage of this dramatic rescue. New tonight, 11 at 11's Maggie Rupert joins us live from the scene with more on why that hole was exposed and what city officials have to say.
But first, 11 at 11's Chelsea Rabideau is joining us from the scene. She covered the successful rescues. Chelsea?
That's right, guys. I want to set the scene a little bit for you out here because it's a little bit confusing where this park is. It's not really named on most maps, but it's called Russell Lee Park, and it's on there's South 34th Street in that direction. That's to the east, and then to the north is West Magnolia Avenue, and then to the south, of course, is Southern Avenue. The hole is actually in the northeastern corner of the park. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see it. It's still blocked off at this hour. There are still police officers, people from the city out here investigating. I talked to the assistant fire chief right after they pulled those two people out of the hole. They told me that they're not sure what the hole was used for. It was about 10 to 12 feet deep. It was lined with brick. It was only about 2.5 feet wide. They're calling it a cistern, but they're not really sure what it was being used for or if it had been used for quite some time. But coaches and parents out here tell me that it was a constant worry for them. A wave of relief, clapping and cheering through the crowd as 2-year-old Mayana Moore was pulled to safety.
That she's doing okay right now.
She's doing okay. I think she's just a little scared.
Yeah.
So she's in panic because, like I said, they just lost Kanitha just lost her father, and this Mayana's grandfather like 2 weeks ago. They was real close.
About an hour before, witnesses say Moore was running along the sidelines of a youth football practice. Cones had been set up around a hole after a child fell in on Tuesday. His shoulder pads stopped him from going all the way in, but the cones didn't stop little Mayana.
And she just went straight through the cones, which is a hole that we usually put combs around, and being a little kid, and she didn't pay no attention to it and fell down in the hole. It's about 11 feet deep.
Coaches and parents rushed to help. 46-year-old coach Terrence Washington jumped in after the girl.
We're all dads, so that was just an act of somebody needs to go, who's going?
Dozens of emergency crews were called in when the two couldn't get out on their own.
Earlier they put up what we call a tripod system, lowered one of our individuals down into the hole and retrieved both of the patients.
Mayana's mother and Terrence's wife paced next to the hole while crews maneuvered the pair to the surface, one at a time. First the little girl, then the man who jumped in after her. Two very relieved families.
Oh, yeah. God is good. And just keep praying for us because we need it.
Now, Mayana was pulled out after about an hour down in that hole, and Terrence Washington was pulled out after about an hour and 15 minutes. We heard from family and friends that both are doing fine. They're more shaken up than anything. But again, people that I talked to said that they have noticed potholes and other holes out here in this park that they've been trying to get city officials to come out and do something about it, that they had come out and cut the grass but not covered up the hole. So they went ahead and put cones around it, which again, that little girl apparently did not heed when she was running through the field. Reporting live, Chelsea Rabideau, 11 at 11.
Thank you, Chelsea. And this is a video of the man called Coach T being taken to the hospital tonight. He was alert, talking and waving to friends when he was pulled to safety. You saw it there. Here's what we have learned about Terrence Washington. He is the CEO and founder of Maddie's House here in Louisville. The West Ormsby facility is an inpatient treatment center for alcohol and drug abuse. Terrence is a father and a stepfather. And when I talked to one of his co-workers on the telephone tonight, she said he is, quote, super.
And our team coverage continuing here of this story on 11 at 11. We learned tonight while we were on the scene that the abandoned brick-lined cistern where the little girl fell has been at that park for a while. Was it blocked off? Why isn't it filled in? And these are the questions we've been asking city officials tonight who actually went to the scene. 11 at 11's Maggie Rupert is joining us live with more on what they had to say. Maggie?
Well, Doug, bottom line, they really say that it is just too early to tell what they are dealing with tonight. I spoke with Assistant Parks Director Marty Storch, who was out here with his team. He described it as a sinkhole about 24 inches in diameter, and he believes it's about 15 feet deep. They've also found at least one other depression, and they've roped those areas off. A lot of departments responded to this incident: firefighters, parks officials, and also Metro sewer officials.
It is a brick-built hole. So what it is at this point in time, is it a well, is it a sewer, is it a cistern? I'm just not sure at this point in time. That's why MSD's help is going to be so important to help us understand exactly what we're looking at.
And as we had mentioned before, we heard those holes were becoming a problem. I also asked Storch tonight if he was aware of or had received any complaints. Here's what he had to say.
I had not, and I checked with my staff who was here mowing yesterday. I've got the maintenance supervisor here. She's not aware of any comments like that. We're going to check in the morning to see if there was any Metro calls that had been made about this.
And the park will remain closed tonight. There will be a Metro police officer here on scene overnight, kind of guarding these holes and these depressions that they have found. And also, park officials will return here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with cameras that they will try to put down into that hole to try to get some more answers. Reporting live, Maggie Rupert, 11 at 11.
And you can count on WHAS 11 to stay on top of this dramatic rescue. For the latest information, tune in to Good Morning Kentuckiana starting at 4:30 tomorrow morning.
Now on 11 at 11, a WHAS 11 News exclusive. A father of 3 is in jail tonight accused of driving under the influence of prescription pills and alcohol with his 3 daughters right in the back seat. Tonight, his wife sat down with us for an exclusive interview. Stephanie Payne says she was waiting yesterday evening for her husband to pick her up from work, but he never made it. She says police called her to tell her that her husband and children were in a crash. Payne would soon learn that her husband, DeMarco, was at fault. He allegedly took a mix of painkillers and washed it down with beer sitting in a cup holder in the car. Police say his 3 daughters, aged 2, 4, and 6, were in the back seat while he was behind the wheel.
He's a great dad. He's a really good dad, and it just hurts that he did this, and I want him to get help.
Witnesses say he was swerving all over Gagel Avenue in Louisville, almost causing a head-on collision, and he sideswiped another car, sending the driver to the hospital. He eventually came to a stop and was arrested. His little girls walked away unhurt. He's currently in jail on a bond of $5,000.
And we are working several other stories all new tonight on 11 at 11. A no vote tonight from the Metro Council on a controversial liquor ordinance that would have stopped liquor sales in some neighborhoods after 2 a.m. Well, the council members tonight voted to add beer to that ordinance along with hard liquor. So that means the proposal is going back to the Public Safety Committee for consideration. 35 local stores have a special license allowing them to sell until 4 a.m. Most of those stores are in West Louisville. Also up for a vote by the council, declaring what used to be a landfill near downtown Louisville as surplus property the city can sell. The council passed it unanimously. This means the 23 acres at Frankfort Avenue and River Road are ready to be bought up by Botanica, a group that wants to turn the land into a waterfront botanical gardens. The nonprofit group signed a lease with Metro government in June. Once the council signs off, the city and Botanica will establish a purchase price.
Looking ahead to tomorrow here on 11 at 11, former UK basketball legend and the former state ag commissioner Richie Farmer is expected to plead guilty tomorrow to abusing his power and misusing taxpayer money. The plea means Farmer will avoid trial. A judge will sentence him to at least 21 months, about 2 years in federal prison, and order him to pay restitution and fines. There is no parole in the federal prison system. WHAS 11 News will have coverage of Richie Farmer all day right here tomorrow.
Also new tonight on 11 at 11, U of L will hire an independent accounting firm to review the university's finances. The U of L Board of Trustees approved the move in response to a recent allegation of theft in the university's Department of Family and Geriatric Medicine. The IRS says Perry Chad Vaughn wrote checks to himself, possibly in excess of $2 million. Vaughn has not been charged criminally. Federal prosecutors filed a civil complaint against him detailing a criminal investigation.
All news since 6 o'clock, updating you now on 3 breaking stories we first told you about in our earlier newscast. Police are now telling us that the driver of the pickup truck that crashed into this building at 15th and Market in the Portland neighborhood ran a red light and hit a car. The driver of the truck was taken to University Hospital as it hit Caudill Seed Company. 3 people in the car were also taken to University Hospital. Officers say the driver of the truck may have suffered some kind of medical condition. Sky 11 also late today over the small fire at these Housing Authority apartment units in the 200 block of Ernie Avenue in New Albany. That's near Floyd Memorial Hospital and close to Benford Park. No one was hurt there. And Sky 11 also flying over this fire at an apartment building on Greenwood Avenue in West Louisville. This fire happening a short time before the one in New Albany. Firefighters quickly got the flames and smoke under control. Paramedics rushed one person to the hospital. We've learned tonight that the victim suffered smoke inhalation. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
And now a WHAS 11 News exclusive. A Floyd County woman says she was stripped of her clothing by sheriff's deputies, tased, and left naked in a cell for 8 hours. In this surveillance video, you can see Storms taken into a jail cell, pushed to the ground, and later her clothes were removed, some cut off. She describes her ordeal as humiliating and scary. Ashley Storms says it happened when deputies arrested her for disorderly conduct and public intoxication in April. In a lawsuit now filed in federal court, her attorney says their actions crossed the line.
I just laid there crying, begging them, and they just kept taking my clothes off. I've never had someone tear my clothes off of me like that, let alone some police officers, and I was terrified. I didn't know what was going to happen.
She's suing the sheriff's department and the individual deputies who stripped her and tased her. Sheriff Daryl Mills says the department followed all proper procedures and protocol that are in place.
A raging inferno tonight. Red-hot flames and thick black smoke destroying part of an attraction recently rebuilt after Superstorm Sandy. How this New Jersey boardwalk fire ignited.
Plus, a building collapses on several firefighters. What caused the inferno and how those firefighters are doing now.
And clear and chilly as you wake up Friday morning. Temperatures in the 50s to near 60 degrees. Get ready for some gorgeous weather. A detailed look of Futurecast coming right up.
And we know Quentin Snyder's no longer going to Louisville, so where is he headed? The Ballard Bruin may be the best basketball player from this area in nearly a decade. We'll tell you where he's playing college ball up ahead in sports.